So digging deeper into an individual course, I'm going to click on the title of the humanities course. You'll see it's blue when I scroll over it, and I can click on that. It'll open a new window up top here, a new tab up above. And then here I'll find all of the assignments that have been given for that course so far this year. So right now, Kermit Frog only has one assignment in humanities, and it was for summarizing plot. And there was a little check-in assessment that was given. And you'll see where the scores show up for that particular assessment here. So for punctuation is making expected progress, for defining main parts of a plot line, progressing, identifying main plot lines, meeting, summarizing their extending beyond proficiency and participation skills, progressing. So that just gives you kind of a sense of how did they do on that particular assignment, and there would be more assignments listed below here if there were more assignments that had been given to them. So you'd be able to see this same information for each individual assignment. Beyond that, if you really want to get into the nitty-gritty details of what does all of this mean, I can click on the name of any assignment. In this case, I'll click this one. And that's where we get to our rubrics that have the really clear criteria that help guide us as educators in assessing students' growth. So for each one of those standard skills that you saw there, we have criteria that clearly indicates where are they in that progression of learning. So a really clear example would be defining main parts of a plot line. If they're in the progressing level, it means that right now they're not able to name all 5 parts of the plot. Maybe they can name some of them, but not all of them. And so therefore they're progressing. Once they're able to name all 5 parts of the plot, introduction, rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution, that will put them at the meeting proficiency level. Once they're able to do that, and this bold part underneath, use the correct terminology when describing all of those elements, that would put them at the extending beyond proficiency level. So it gives really, really clear detail about what do they need to do in order to meet the standard, extend beyond the standard, so that we can give them really accurate feedback about how they're progressing as learners with specific skills. As I scroll down through here, you'll see very similar kinds of things. If somebody scores in this meeting level, they get an M indicator over here. If a student scores in this area here, they'll get that E score for extending beyond proficiency. Down here, you'll notice there's multiple criteria in each of these levels. If a student shows that they've met the standard in one criteria but is still progressing in others, they will receive a score of progressing towards proficiency because they haven't shown that they can do all of these things yet. So this particular student, Kermit Frog, is able to follow the directions as they are written or stated, but not yet able to show that they can respond to others when they're spoken to, and does not remain focused on the task throughout the time that they have to work on it. So they have a couple of things they need to work on to get to here. But the rubric does break it down so that you can see clearly what they are able to do, because they are making progress. They are showing us that they can do this part of the skill. They just have these parts that they need to continue working on. Similarly, down here, under punctuation, you'll see that they're able to do 3 out of the 4 criteria at the meeting level. So meeting proficiency in using end of sentence punctuation. They're able to use apostrophes correctly. They're able to use commas to form a list in their writing, but they're still including some run-on or sentence fragments. So because of that, they are not meeting proficiency yet, because there's that one part that's left to learn. However, it's possible that maybe we haven't learned about how to avoid run-on sentences and sentence fragments yet this year. So if I wouldn't expect that they would know how to do that anyway, that's where they're going to get this expected progress score. These are the things we've learned about, and they're showing that they're able to do those. This hasn't been taught to them yet, so I wouldn't expect that they know how to do that. But I expect that when we get to it, they will be able to do it because they've demonstrated that they've been able to do these other skills over here. So I'm giving them this expected progress. They're doing the things that I've asked them to be able to do, and it's just this piece here they haven't mastered yet because we haven't really spent any time on it so far this year. So it just gives you a clearer vision of like where they are in their learning and why. If I go back, and up here at the top right-hand corner, I'll go back into this assignment list, and that'll show me any other assignments. I can dig into that same level of detail and see those rubrics and the specific feedback my student received on each assignment. If I close this, I can get back to the main page here, and I can do the same thing with any other class. So if I go into the math class, same type of thing here, except you'll notice that with this one, I have a little extra information, which is that this assignment was turned in late. You will also see things like missing assignments, or if there's no information in there, but the assignment was excused for your student for some reason. All of those things will pop under this this other box here. So this assignment was turned in late. That doesn't affect the student's score on what they did in terms of what skills they were able to demonstrate, but it's a good thing for them to know and for you to know, so that you can get a sense of, are they handing in their work on time? Are their assignments missing? What's going on during the school day? So same thing here. I can click on the assignment to get more detail, or I can see this kind of broad overview of with rational numbers, they're making expected progress, number sense, they're progressing, and work completion, they are meeting the standard right now. So let's see what that means. When I click on the assignment title, it takes us in here, and I can see, okay, so for rational numbers, they are able to use flexible strategies to add, subtract, and multiply with positive rational numbers given a math task, but they're not able to yet divide. So that's the piece that they're missing, and that's why they're getting this the expected progress score here, is that they're able to do most of the skill, but there's one piece here that's missing. Maybe we haven't spent a lot of time on that yet, or maybe we haven't done it at all. And so I'm saying the things I've asked them to do, they're able to do it. They're making expected progress. Down here under number sense, they're able to represent positive and negative numbers as points on a number line, but they haven't shown that they can do it on a coordinate plane yet. We've practiced both of those things in class, and they're still not able to do this one yet, so I'm putting that as progressing. They are making progress. They're able to do one of the two criteria, but they haven't shown that they can do this one yet, so that's something they're going to need to keep working on. And down here under work completion, they're turning in work by the due date, and they're turning in work that includes their name, so they're getting a meeting there. A little disconnect there considering this was a late assignment, but that's okay, just kind of giving you a sense of how this is laid out. So again, I can go back here to see more math assignments and get detail on them, or I can close and get back to the snapshot. So that would be true for any class that your student is enrolled in. I only have 2 classes here for this student, but you would see things like physical education, art, music, any of the classes that they're taking at school that are providing them feedback. And down at the bottom of the snapshot, you also get a little bit more information. So for instance, here we have the number of assignments that are on time, 50%, because I only have two assignments in here, one for humanities, one for math, and the math one was late. So that's why that's at a 50% there. And then percentage of assignments where they're meeting proficiency or better is 50% right now, which is pretty amazing at this point in the year. But you'll also notice that the number of skills that have been assessed are only 8 out of 81 possible skills. So that's why that might be a higher percentage, because we've done very few skills so far overall. There's also an area down here that gives you a little bit of data about attendance. This student doesn't have attendance data because they're not a student who's actually attending our schools, but here's where you could find some information about what percentage of the days have they been present at school, how many days have they been absent so far this year, that kind of thing. So lots and lots of information. If the really in-depth detail is more than what you feel you need, you certainly don't need to dig that deeply, but it's good to know that it's there for you, it's available, so that if you really want to dig in and figure out how are things going with my student, what can I work on at home, how can I be supportive, what are the areas where they need to focus the most, all of that kind of information is available now for you to check in on, not just at report card time, but anytime that you decide to log in. So thanks for walking through this with me, and if you have any questions, as always, please don't hesitate to reach out to your school, your teachers, your principals, or the central office, and we'll do what we can to help you.